Hi everyone, it has just turned 2:30 here in the Scottish borders. As you can see, I'm back in my regular studio. Some of you wonder what's with the bit of the Belgian flag, the stars and stripes, the Wisconsin um, state flag, which actually isn't a Wisconsin state flag, the official one. It's actually the Charlie Barron's state flag, complete with signatures of many supporters. Let me just make sure this is all working as it should do. Hi there, Darkside. You know, it occurred to me the other day, Darkside, that I really do need to know what your real name is so that we can refer to you by your, as I say, your real name. Maybe it's Dorothy. I don't know. Anyway, hi there, Darkside. Just make sure this is working. There we go. Okay. We're in there. Okay. Everything seems to be working fine. And I'm going to not make the mistake that I did at the last video. Oh, Lyra. Excellent. Of not showing up on screen the first article. And then B, at the end, I went for about 6 minutes live. Accidentally forgot to switch off end broadcast. And it was obviously I got the various message, particularly from T1. You're still live, by the way, pal. You know, you need to switch off your broadcast. So anyway, let's just a little bit of background, just for a few minutes, just to explain one or two things. Why the interest in Wisconsin? Some of you will wonder why, and the American flag. Well, we'll get it right in a minute. And obviously the Belgian flag. It's obviously the interest in Wisconsin, the Netflix documentary Making a Murderer, which came out in December of 2015. I was forced to watch it by my youngest daughter, shocked and appalled at what I saw, and have been a keen supporter of truth and justice for Teresa Halbach, Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey ever since. When you follow Making a Murderer and you then want to go a bit further and see what's available to watch and to find out more about the case, I eventually it led me in various directions. Facebook, obviously a lot of people go to Facebook. I got in touch with the sheriff of Manitowoc and he alerted me to various Facebook groups and who were running it, and also YouTube. I ended up going on YouTube and coming across a fella from Southern California, real name Richard McAdam, but went by the name of Cosey. And he's undoubtedly regarded as the, once described as the black belt of YouTubers on Making a Murderer. Who am I on about? Let's put some let's see, what have we got here? Yes, that's more like it. No, done those. Okay, hold on a sec. Let's clear some of these out the way. And I'll hit that one. Let's try that again. See if we get a better. Yes, that's more like it. Okay. Who is Cosey? This is the dude, as I used to refer to him. Although he's in Southern California, this is him outside of Stephen Avery's garage in Wisconsin. Even for him, a journey of several thousand miles to go to a rally in support of Stephen Brendan, Truth and Justice for Stephen Brendan and Teresa. And there's a few of us that are generally referred to as Cosey Wrecking Crew. You'll see a lot of them have got the Cosey Wrecking Crew t-shirt on. Just to be the odd one out, I've got my Australia flag. Not too sure what Stacey's got on. And we've got Tracy here, Linda, Scooby. Unfortunately, Denise, no longer with us. Pom Pom, Fen, as I say, Linda, Ali, Angie. I don't think I've left anybody out. I hope not. This is in Wisconsin at the Avery Salvage Yard. But a couple of probably his favourite photographs. Certainly, he thoroughly enjoyed being in Australia. Again, here's with Stacey, and our big banner in support of Steve and Brendan. The work with KZ, hashtag Kathleen Zellner is the lawyer for Stephen Avery, and it's a Twitter hashtag. Again, all the sort of things that you do to support a cause. Probably, if you asked him what his favourite photograph would be, it would undoubtedly be this one. He is the dude himself backstage at the Melbourne Conference Centre, complete with Steve Drizzen, who is obviously the lead lawyer. Well, sorry, Steve Drizzen, Laura Nyrider, but they're the two lawyers that represent Brendan Dassey. Complete with Brendan Dassey asked me about the control question. Copyright Eric Cosey, 2018. Long story, cut it short. Me and Mark Hodden designed a t-shirt, got it printed up. The dude liked the design because it was to do with his analysis of the case, part of the analysis of the case, the control question. So we made a t-shirt. And basically the dude travelled halfway around the world to Australia, and this was the highlight to present Steve with his Brendan Dassey t-shirt. It's the sort of thing, as I say, that supporters do. We tend to get interested in these cases of wrongful conviction, and we try and do our best to raise interest in the case. I think I've got one more here. Have I? I've got one more here. No, I think that. Oh yes, yeah. Here we go. Once again, this is the dude, myself, Stacey, and Mark, who was instrumental in designing the t-shirts. And you can actually see, if you look carefully, Eric Cosey has got his t-shirt that says "The Dude," and Stacey, very cool. Sam William Henry, 582. That's very, very important within Making a Murder community, because it's the license number of Teresa Holbach's RAV4. As you can see, we're at the foot, in the shadow, if you like, of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. We had a great time in Australia, but we never lost sight of what we were there for. Anyway, I always said all along to the dude, because as I say, I got hold of his channel, started messaging him, chatting with him. He encouraged me to start at my own channel. He's encouraged literally dozens of people to start their own channel. I also said to him that Making a Murderer would become popular, or more popular, here in, for example, Scotland, once the regular, normal BBC, ITV, Channel 4, etc. channels screen Making a Murderer. I was probably wrong, because we weren't accounting for murder in a small town. Now, you'd heard about the Luke Mitchell, Jodie Jones case probably about 2 years ago or more. And it was always his plan to have a chat with Sandra Lean. Unfortunately, back in August of last year, he suffered a fatal heart attack. So unfortunately, the dude is no longer sort of with us to do videos, although his channel is still there. People still go to his channel and go and watch his videos. I think he's done several, I think nearly 1,000 videos. He's got over 7,000 subscribers and views in excess of 2 million in total. So yeah, just a huge contribution by the dude, and as a result of the dude, some of us have got these fantastic T-shirts. This is the Richard McAdam Advocacy Foundation. It just means talk about these things. You know, if there's a problem with justice out there, one of the best things you can do is talk about it. That's what, when we went to presentations by all the lawyers, they say talk about it. You know, these bad actors. I remember Jerry Butin at the rally. He sent a message to say, you know, the bad actors in these cases, they're like vampires. They hate the light. Your job is to shine a light on these bad actors, and that way you'll start to see the results. So I wanted to first of all show you this that's coming up tomorrow. There we go. One of the groups that got together. Groups, as you probably noticed, it's not like we belong to one club or another club. We belong to multiple clubs, if you like, groups, you know. So this is the Foul Play channel, dedicated initially, obviously, mainly to Making a Murder, Free Steve Navery, Brendan Dassey. Foul Play consists of members from all over the globe, literally all over the globe. I think I know virtually every member of Foul Play personally on first name terms. But in particular, the leader of the gang, if you like, is in Australia, in Adelaide, Australia. And it's just great to see that something as important to us as more murder in a small town here in the Scottish Lothian and borders is of interest around the globe. It's great that there's this interest in the documentary, and wanting to look at this case and say, was justice served? So I would strongly advise people to join in. Now that's tomorrow evening at 9:05 in the evening. So Foul Play are doing an open mic discussion about it. It basically takes the form of lots of people on the panel that are members of Foul Play talking about the case. They've done loads and loads of videos, obviously, about Making a Murderer and other associated cases. But this is them getting stuck into Murder in a Small Town, Luke Mitchell, Jodie Jones. And I think it's just fantastic that we've got all these people from all around the world now taking an interest in the Luke Mitchell, Jodie Jones case. And of course, reciprocally, it means more and more people in Scotland get to know about Making a Murderer in Wisconsin and other cases of wrongful conviction. And there's just so many parallels with all of these wrongful convictions. It's like you can almost spot them a mile off. You know what's going on. Hopefully everybody's cool there in the chat. Everybody's getting on and looking forward to, as I say, the Foul Play tomorrow. But of course, I've got a couple of articles. I don't want to keep you too long. I've got a live tonight with my time, 8:15, with Pete Dassey, Brendan's father. So looking forward to that. what are supporters of Luke Mitchell and Jodie Jones planning to do to try and highlight the case? This is an article from The Sun. Let's have a look. Retrial demo. Luke Mitchell. Supporters plan protest outside Scottish Parliament to demand retrial over Jodie Jones' murder. Don't know if we really want a retrial. I think just a proper independent review would probably come to the conclusion that there's no basis for keeping Luke Mitchell in prison. Anyway, a protest outside Holyrood. Of course, Hollywood is where the dude used to work. He used to go and fit modern electronics, sophisticated modern electronics like automated, lights, all that kind of stuff in houses, often up in Hollywood. So, sorry, excuse me. A protest outside Holyrood has been planned to demand a retrial for convicted Jodie Jones killer Luke Mitchell. The event, which has been set up on Facebook, is to be held outside the Scottish Parliament in Edinburgh on April the 24th. So come on down. So, the Facebook page Luke Mitchell Miscarriage of Justice has been named as the original organiser. More than 200 people, including crime expert Dr. Sandra Lean, who was at the forefront of the recent documentary Murder in a Small Town, are set to attend. The protest plan comes amid a two-part Channel 5 documentary in which two ex-detectives claim Luke is innocent. And of course, I can't help thinking that it would need to be ex-detectives. I think the police very much, whether they're Scotland, Wisconsin, anywhere in the world, they stick together. And 99.9% of the time, that's to be admired and respected. The fact that they do have this camaraderie, this this brotherhood. So I'm not surprised that it had to be ex-detectives that looked into the case. Luke Mitchell was convicted in 2005 for the murder of his then 14-year-old girlfriend, Jodie Jones, in Dalkeith. Since being set up on February 24th, was that the Wednesday or the Thursday? Doesn't matter. Over 700 Facebook users have expressed their interest in attending the event. According to the event page titled Justice for Luke and Jodie, the demonstration will be a peaceful protest to demand a retrial for Luke Mitchell. An online petition demanding Luke's case be independently reviewed has also been set up and has so far gathered more than 18,000 signatures. Crime expert Dr. Sandra Lean, who has dedicated her career to the Luke Mitchell case, shared the event on her Twitter page last night, saying, "Peaceful protest in Edinburgh on April 24th for anyone who can attend. Huge thanks to the organisers of this event, a chance to show the world we want justice for Jodie as well as Luke." See you all there. I can't stress this, to show the world. It always used to make me laugh with the dude because his world was America. Until he went to Australia, he had never been anywhere else. But As I say, even going from California to Wisconsin was a huge flight, made worse by the fact that when he was trying to fly back again from Chicago, they experienced a rare phenomenon known as weather and had to be diverted. But anyway, that's just a little joke. For somebody that came from Southern California, the weather in Chicago was most unusual. I say huge thanks to the supporters of this event, a chance to show the world we want justice for Jody as well as Luke. See you all there. Dr. Lane has backed Luke Mitchell since he was found guilty of murdering his girlfriend Jody in 2005 and was sentenced to a minimum of 20 years. Excellent, and they've got a picture of it. That is very, very nice to see, son, and a very nice to see them putting up these details. Thank you to the son. Once again, typically, Sandra, who messaged me yesterday to say she has been inundated, absolutely swamped with people wanting to get in touch with her. And, I suppose, Sandra, you should really be careful what you wish for, because it really has caught fire, as it were, this case. Now, Dr. Sandra Lean has worked closely with legal teams to help Luke appeal his case over the years and dedicated her career to it. For some reason, they never mentioned the book she wrote, Innocence Betrayed, which is, as I say, well worth getting a copy of. Luke's, I don't know why they keep saying Mitchell's. Use his first name, Luke. Luke's attempts to appeal it's almost a derogatory thing, isn't it? Cabaldi, what are you doing? That kind of sort of teacher type thing, Luke's attempts to appeal the decision were rejected. Yeah, they have been. And he's been serving his sentence since, with the earliest chance of release being 2025, but only if he pleads guilty, only if he accepts that he's, this idea that he has to accept that he's guilty before he will get parole. Sandra and Luke's mother, Corinne, you see, you managed to get Corinne's name correct, first name correct. Why not Luke's? Okay. Play a vital part in a recent 2-part documentary which has explored different aspects of the case, including additional suspects. Luke, who found Jodie's body, was quickly accused of her murder and was convicted at the High Court in Edinburgh, age 16, although they took 10 months before they finally felt that they had enough media pressure Luke Mitchell. Channel 5 documentary Murder in a Small Town under fire as furious fans lodge Ofcom complaints. Don't know which fans they're on about. His victim was just 14. Yeah, so was Luke and Jodie were 14 when she was found naked and mutilated behind the wall on Roan's Dyke path, which leads from Newbattle to East Hazes. The judge, Lord Nimmo Smith, said the photos he saw of her hinges were the worst he had ever seen. Nobody, Lord Nimmo and anybody else, nobody has ever denied that this was an absolutely horrific and horrendous crime. And the fact that it was perpetrated on just a 14-year-old, as I say, for me, I would like to see some of the victimology reports. I would like to see what the experts have said about this case. Why this, to us, senseless killing? Throughout his trial and subsequent imprisonment, Luke has professed his innocence, as has his mother, Corinne. The lie detector testing, I carries no weight with me whatsoever, whether he passed or failed. I suppose if he failed, then people would say that's proof of guilt. It's not. If he passed, similarly, it's the fact that they both passed this lie detector test. That is more bizarre. That is more. If he was guilty and his mum guilty of perjury, the fact they both passed the test, that is very interesting. Okay, let's just quickly come on down. Sorry. Since the event was started last Wednesday, people who believe that Luke is innocent have been commenting on the page. Karen Barrowman said, we'll be there. I suppose I will be there. I'm not sure. Okay. I think that's the end of that. Oh, no, sorry. Jumping the gun. Sarah Dawn Stevenson posted, my friends will be there. Disgraceful that this farce of a sentence was even imposed on this innocent boy. Claire Merritt commented, won't be attending, but will support. I suppose, the problem for people outside of the Midlothian area, because that's what Dalkeith comes under, and Edinburgh, is what restrictions are in place. As Police Scotland spokesman said, we are aware of the plans and any event will be policed appropriately, taking into account the coronavirus restrictions at the time, both of the gathering of people together and also being able to travel to certain parts from other parts of Scotland. Okay, I think I've finally got to the bottom of that one. The next article. So let's just see how we're doing over here in the chat and everything. Watch and sign also good. Share already. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, that's great, Jazz. Main thing is to keep spreading the word. The other thing that did occur to me, sorry, just going back, a thought came to mind over the pictures that I showed you. I say he particularly liked this one with Steve with the control question T-shirt. It wouldn't surprise me at all if at some point we don't get the Luke Mitchell, Jodie Jones T-shirts. Just try and spread the word. Questioning what transpired. We assume, don't we, that, and I'm sure that the jury did. I've said this many times. I'm sure that the jury in Luke Mitchell's case, the fact that Luke is presented as the perpetrator by the police, people here in Scotland, huge confidence and trust in the police, would say, wow, if he's the guy that the police have arrested, there must be a reason for this. So that can often work against the accused. Unfortunately, there are, when you get involved in these cases of wrongful conviction, you eventually have to deal with what are referred to as the guilters, or as I tend to call them, the haters. They hate somebody because it was a horrendous crime, because it was such an awful crime, because somebody has been put forward and denied in the various appeals. Exactly the same as Stephen Avery. Luke Mitchell is in exactly the same boat as Stephen Avery, just wanting lawyers and the legal system to do what it's supposed to do. Unfortunately, as I say, you have to deal with the guilty community. And it always struck me that a good friend of mine, Dave Bogotka, who was originally from Manitrock, he had a bar in Manitrock. He was actually on the beach at the same time that Penny Bernstein was attacked. He knew perfectly well that Stephen Avery wasn't involved in that case in 1985. Saw Steve, ironically, either the day or the day after Trezot disappeared at a filling station. Steve was heading into Manitrock to put money on Jodie's account so that she could phone and buy stuff from jail. And Dave uses this line that the guilters, they stand on Teresa's grave. So I'm going to change that. The guilters, they stand on the graves of the victims and they hurl insults at us merely for questioning was the right person found guilty. But they will use various ways of attacking. It'll be interesting how this Luke Mitchell case develops. I suspect it will be very, very well. So far, it's been exactly the same as Stephen Avery. The police, politicians come out and say, "Oh no, we're 100% satisfied in this conviction. Nobody needs to worry about it. Everybody's where they should be. And by the way, it's horrendous the fact that you're dragging this up and you're raking it through all this again." As I say, they just stand on the graves of the victims and hurl insults at anybody that dares question convictions. So I would seriously question, are we meant to not talk about this case because it's dragging up the past? Is that a legitimate reason for not questioning somebody's guilt? Is the fact that it's dragging up the past? So, Luke Mitchell documentary triggers painful memories for residents of Jodie Jones' murder town. Midlothian residents told how many parents were too scared to let their children out to play as police hunted the 14-year-old's killer before eventually charging her then boyfriend in April of 2004. Yes, I've never lived in Midlothian, but very nearby. I don't know that it certainly didn't affect us in the borders as it would have done people in and around Dalkeith. But I think, throughout Scotland and the UK, we were shocked at what had happened. Residents of a Scot town rocked by the brutal murder of Jodie Jones have described how a recent documentary about her death and killing has brought painful memories flooding back. Yes, I'm sure it does. The 14-year-old's body was discovered on a woodland path near her Midlothian home in 2003, just after hours after she had gone to meet her boyfriend, Luke Mitchell, who had been in an intimate relationship with the schoolgirl for around 3 months, was eventually arrested and charged by police investigating the savage killing. As I say, no question about the fact that it's savage, the shock that would have been felt among the community. But the question needs to be asked, in that the murder of Jodie Jones was savage and senseless. If you bury somebody alive, an innocent person alive, is that also savage and senseless? Or, in order to just leave things alone so that we simply accept that it's the best we can do in the situation. At least we've put somebody behind bars for this senseless murder. Let's just leave it at that. We don't really want to know any more about this case. We're just quite happy that somebody is serving time and we feel as if justice has been served. That is an illusion of justice. It is not true justice. He was found guilty and ordered to serve 20 years. The case was once again thrust back in the spotlight last week after the airing of Channel 5's Murder in a Small Town documentary, which was largely, was it largely skewed towards protesting the innocence of Luke, now 32? Oh dear. Daily Record, you're showing where you stand. Look, if all of us that are concerned about this case, if we're all proven wrong by a judicial review, an independent judicial review of this, we'll go away, we'll shut up, we'll apologise for ever having brought this up. But one wonders, Daily Record, what are you going to do if it's all found to be wrongful? Residents of the nearby mining towns have now told how the airing of the controversial show has brought their recollections to the crime, one of Scotland's most shocking, back to the surface of their minds, and how it has left strong divisions within the community. A friend of Jodie's family, who wished not to be named, told the Daily Record Jodie's murder caused quite a divide in the town at the time. Did it? I got the sense that the majority of people just were quite happy. They were getting the newspaper reports that Luke Mitchell is the one. He's a devil worshipper. As he described himself, he was the local weirdo. They were quite happy to pin it on him. And that's still very much the case today, after that documentary dragged it all back up again. It was absolutely terrible, a truly devastating thing to happen to such a young girl. Totally agree. I have seen firsthand how the documentary has upset Jodie's family, as it was so one-sided. It focused on the circumstantial evidence rather than the conclusive evidence and took most of it out of context. It was honestly so distressing for Jodie's family to have it all brought back up again after Luke has already been found guilty and has had 4 appeals rejected. But there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the right person was convicted of the crime. And just when the family tries to get back on with their lives, Luke rakes it all back up again in the media for his own personal gain. I'm not sure about that. The family are just taking hit after hit, and now they're even having to deal with trolls on social media, sending nasty messages and spreading rumours. That is wrong, obviously. That is not what we're about as a community. That is not what we do. Yellow sunflowers continued to mark the entrance of the woodland path near Jodie's East Houses home 17 years on, as those living closest to the grim scene struggled to forget the devastating tragedy. Former Labour MP Diane Rowley, who grew up in the area, recalled how her protective mum was too scared to let her out during the summer holidays as the police investigation to nail Jodie's killer continued. Yeah, I can quite understand that. The 31-year-old said, "It was the end of the school term when Jodie Jones was murdered. Indeed, I only learned about what happened when I got to school the following morning. We were all geared up for a day of dancing and DVDs. Everyone was saying a girl from St. David's High had been found dead in the woods. At first we thought it was some sick joke. Then, as more details went around the school, the horror sunk in. I think we spent most of the day sitting around talking about what might have happened. I was 13 at the time, almost the same age as Jodie. My grandparents had lived on the estate where Luke lived, next to where the murder took place. It all felt too close. Things like this didn't happen on your doorstep. All our parents were on high alert. My mum hardly let me out of the house during those summer holidays. Although Luke was convicted and imprisoned for the murder, there was always talk locally that it could have been someone else. Whether you believe that or not, the uncertainty seemed to leave a sense of fear and unease in the community, certainly for young girls. In the years since, I have often walked and driven past the entrance to the path where Jodie's body was found, and each time would look to see fresh sunflowers tied to the post. Certainly, it's a very popular road that I've, until lockdown, would drive down, up and down at least 3 or 4 times a week. Elaine Black, 57, told how she kept her 3 teenage daughters at home over fears of a killer or killers on the loose. She said, "One of my daughters was 14 at the time, the same age as Jodie. The other was 13 and her sister was 16. We heard that a young lassie had been murdered, but we didn't hear the full extent of everything she had gone through until some time later. It was absolutely heartbreaking. The police were all over East Houses, and they were going from door to door, asking questions and stopping people in the street." There were a lot of stories flying around at the time. Nobody was letting their kids out to play because they thought there was a murderer on the loose. I remember crying at the time, and I still think about Jodie's mum and how devastated she must be about it. It was all such a horrible thing to happen. It really was. Alex Pride, 65, from the Woodburn area of Dalkeith, added, "I would have been at work when the news came out. I worked for Royal Mail at the time, and Jodie's dad did as well. A few years before it all happened, it was definitely a shock. The feeling about it all in the town wasn't great, to be honest. I remember seeing a picture of Luke at the graveside, drinking cans of beer and that. That sort of sticks with me for some reason. I think parents in the town were quite worried about it all, especially those who had young lasses. And Maureen Thompson, 78, from Dalkeith, said, "I've lived around 5 minutes away from Luke at the time. I still lie awake at night, sometimes thinking about Jodie's mum and everything she's been through." I feel so sorry for her and for Luke's mother as well. John Hughes, 48, from Dalkeith, told how he was looking over his shoulder while out walking in the aftermath of Jodie's death. He said, "I think the shock of her death has faded for some people, but it's definitely still there for others. I know that some people were nervous to go out at night and things after she was after she was found and while the police were investigating." As a dog owner, I used to walk on the path where it happened and found it quite disturbing that something like that could happen somewhere that is usually so peaceful. I was definitely more aware of my surroundings after that, because it really was a horrific crime. And I don't think anybody would argue with any of the residents' sentiments, other than the fact that you do an injustice to Jodie if you convict the wrong person, and not only the wrong person, but the wrong person who she was very emotionally attached to. Anyway, we wait and see what transpires over the march, see what kind of interest that generates. Certainly on this channel and others, we will keep talking about these cases, asking questions about the illusion of justice. As I say, just to a final mention, obviously, if you're around this evening, around about 8:15, please do pop in. I'll be doing a live chat with Pete Dassey, that's Brendan Dassey's dad, which we've been doing every Saturday evening for about 2 months now. And Pete really enjoys that chat. Say Brendan's son. If you're having watched a murder in a small town, intrigued by it, and you haven't yet watched Making a Murderer, please do. You will discover things that will amaze you about how things are allowed to manifest themselves in Wisconsin. And you'll look at it and you'll think, well, that's ridiculous. That wouldn't happen here. And then you look at Luke Mitchell's case and you think, hold on a sec. There's too many parallels here. There's too many things wonky. So what did I say? I said Brendan's dad. Did I say Pete's dad, Brendan? I probably did. I probably got. You know what, Matt? I was probably just doing it just to test, just to see if anybody was observant enough. Good. Okay, but as I say, I asked Sandra when I met her over a year ago at the Dean Tavern. I asked her that exact same thing. If only we could get somebody like a Kathleen Zellner in the UK to take up the case. But as I'm sure a lot of you will be aware, Kathleen Zellner works pro bono, but then takes the 33% of whatever compensation the wrongfully convicted gets. In the case of Stephen Avery, I think we're looking at in excess of 100 million compensation for Steve, seeing as he was wrongfully convicted once before. There isn't a similar system here in Scotland. There are not lawyers that do these sort of cases for the financial reward that they will get when they finally get these wrongfully convicted people out of prison. Unfortunately, I believe that the amount of compensation that Luke would get would be minimal compared with Stephen Avery, and is dependent totally on the true perpetrator being found, prosecuted, and put away. Only then would Luke be compensated. Anyway, just a final, once again, plug for the foul play video tomorrow, foul play chat, open mic discussion, which is tomorrow night, Sunday night at 9:05. As I say, I think it's just absolutely brilliant that we've got supporters of wanting justice, wanting that this justice to actually mean something, wanting to see these questions being answered. Yes, there might be a lot of circumstantial evidence that pointed at the time to Stephen Avery. There was a lot of circumstantial evidence. Sorry, there wasn't any circumstantial evidence that pointed to Stephen Avery in 1985. That was all a frame up by the police, just because they wanted to put him away. And they wanted to put him away because they felt he was an undesirable person. Again, another echo of Luke Mitchell. They just wanted to put him away because they didn't like him. Anyway, I think that's all I've got time for today. As I say, we'll see you tonight if you're around 8:15, and catch you tomorrow on Foul Play at 9:05. Okay, catch you all later, guys. Bye for now.